creature, and then 1 to all other non-artifact creatures, which can kill deep cavern bats and masterminds, could be a little game breaker.
I kind of love that. And we'll take a look at our opening hands. We're going to be watching from the side of our Dimir Midrange player, Eddie. They are on the bottom of your screen, and Clemens is on the top. I like that. Gandalf the Great is the arena name of Clemens. That's pretty great. And we see a quick start of Monastery Swiftspear going to be met by a cut down even quicker.
This is about the best possible start for Eddie. Fast land, no pain. We've got the kill spell, won the die roll, had the kill spell for the 1-drop, and has the bat to go on turn 2 as Gix on turn 3. This is great.
Better hope for some more cut downs, though, on Eddie's side, because the duress is, the Deep Cavern Bat is going to reveal double Slick Shot, Monastery Swiftspear, and a Bloodthirsty Adversary. So going to take the Witchstalker Frenzy.
I love Magic as a game, because we were discussing how aggressive Slick Shot show off here is as a creature on offense. And now we're just seeing it on defense. Sorry, Gix.
Right?
Nope. I got a 1/2 flyer in play. Too powerful. Can't attack into it.
That's right. And we'll see it. So just playing a Gix and passing the turn back. So Tishana's Tidebinder and a second copy of Gix. Not so great when they come in pairs for Eddie. We'll see Slick Shot show off number 2 hitting the battlefield. 2 unknowns in Clemens' hand. And that 1/2 is just going to get in. Slick Shot show off attacking as a 1/2?
Yeah, a little risky. You know, if Eddie had a removal spell here and can kill the other show off, that's 2 cards. You know, and then the life here, you know, normally if you're a monored player, if you lose life to Gix, you're not that sad about it, but not when you're this kind of behind on mana and stuff. So
and a nice draw off of that Gix, a go for the throat here. So going to be able to double spell here on Eddie's side, taking a look at the 2 fresh cards, which would be a 3rd Slick Shot show off. And a Kumano faces Kakazan, and that will be the choice of the Deep Cavern Bat on Eddie's side. So looks like Reckless Impulse will be the draw and be like, nice top deck, you know, get that 3rd land out there.
Yeah, pretty good, honestly. The thing is, like, the show-offs don't look that impressive as 1/2s, but, like, they can go really big, really, really fast.
You know, we'll see it. Reckless Impulse is going to show a Monstrous Rage and a second copy of Kumano faces Kakazan, and go for the throat before attacks is going to take care of the Slick Shot show off. So not going to be able to attack. And oh my goodness. Remember when I said Eddie's going to want to see a bunch more removal spells about like 3 turns ago? That's what's happened here.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you know, in this game, it looks like the Dimir deck is the aggro deck because unfortunately Clemens missed a few land drops, was on the draw, and those cut downs steal tempo so well.
Right. And we'll see. So Clemens going to say that's enough. Much quicker than our game 1 of round 1. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we're going to move to sideboards and take a little look here. Graveyard Trespasser. Gotta love it. That's in. Looking to shave some Deep Cavern Bats. Like you said, not great on blocking duty. Thinking about maybe keeping 1 or 2 in.
Yeah, I think that like the Masterminds and the Make Disappears also are kind of awkward, especially on the draw. The Make Disappear is serviceable on the play. On the draw, it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, almost every card in the mono red deck costs 1 or 2 mana. So it gets out of range pretty quick. And then again, also, it's hard to be in a spot where you can just like not do anything and say go if you're behind too. So it's tricky. It's a very tricky sideboarding matchup to sideboard in, you know, because you're kind of trying to find the right stance. And like, you know, that game looked like a great aggressive game. Kill a thing, play some bats, draw some cards at Gix, cool. But it's not always going to line up like that.
Yeah, and we see some cards like Malicious Eclipse going to come in here. Going to only bring in 1 Aclazotz probably because it's just so top heavy.
It is a little expensive, yes.
And the Malicious Eclipse is sorcery, 1 black. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. And if a creature an opponent controls would die this turn, exile it instead. So they probably wanted to get rid of some of these smaller creatures on Eddie's side. We saw things like Urtai come out there too.
Yeah, it's definitely awkward because it does kill a number of creatures in Eddie's deck, but necessary, especially on the draw against a powerful start.
Now, this is a much different opener for Eddie this time around. It looks more like a control deck this game. For
sure, you know, and this is a spot where it makes appears to be a little awkward on the draw because by the time it's ready to go, there might be 7 power in play already.
All right, well, there's a Malicious Eclipse, which Eddie will hope will take care of whatever threats Clemens is able to play out here.
Yeah, I gotta hope that Swiftspear can stay at 2 toughness, you know, and then realistically the good mono red draws are, you know, Swiftspear on 1, haste 2-drop on 2, and get in, you know, which plays into the Eclipse, but looking like gonna be a little slower than that this time.
Yeah, and Fairy Mastermind, the draw for turn from Eddie's side. Monastery Swiftspear got in for 1. Eddie down to 18, but Clemens didn't play anything there.
Yeah, that bodes very well for Eddie's main spear as well as the cards in hand. Just a very slow clock. There are some bigger cards in Clemens' sideboard. A couple Koth, Fire Resistance, Jaya, Fiery Negotiator, Chandra, Dress to Kill. So it can go a little bigger. But conversely, that can also kind of play into the counter spells of Eddie's deck.
Now, is there a world where, because it is open deck list, that Clemens is afraid to get swept by a card like Malicious Eclipse, and Clemens is just holding
For
things?
Sure. It's a nice cat and mouse game.
Right. We see that Seismic Wave coming down here. Prowess Trigger from the Monastery Swiftspear. Taking a second to read the card.
We got a reader.
We got a reader. Now, the Seismic Wave does deal 2 damage to any target, and then will deal the 1 damage to the creatures. So Clemens was able to go upstairs on that, but it was countered.
Yeah, and then had an opportunity there to cut down that Swiftspear for sure. Right. While Clemens was tapped out, decided to wait and be a little more greedy with it, perhaps. Can maybe pick up a Monstrous Rage or something like that too.
We'll see this cut down take care of something here. It's going to go for the Fugitive Code Breaker. So the Monastery Swiftspear will grow up to a 2/3 off of that Strangle Prowess trigger, taking care of the Fairy Mastermind, getting across Eddie at 15. But Clemens doesn't really have like a bountiful board here, has 4 cards in hand and just a Monastery Swiftspear on the board.
Interesting there where Eddie prioritized not taking damage. So could have obviously just taken 2 from that, or sorry, 3 from the Codebreaker, untapped, cast the Eclipse and killed both. But trying to keep the life total high at 15 life.
Yeah, we'll see Monastery Swiftspear getting in, has a Go for the Throat as well as a Tishana's Tidebinder. Has the option of casting the Tidebinder here to stop that Prowess trigger off of Swiftspear.
Yeah, try and be a little tricky, I think. Trying to Clemens saying, I'm going to attack. I'm not going to play a spell first. Trying to use your mana on a removal spell and then sneak the Koth in. So misses, quote unquote, the Prowess trigger, but trying obviously to time spells properly. But Koth resolves, like it's Tidebindered.
Right.
No more Koth for you, I guess.
No more Koth. Well, that Koth didn't happen. And we'll see what Tishana's Tidebinder. Gonna get in the red zone. Gonna attack the Koth. Getting in. So Koth drops from 6 to 3. Just a lowly lightning strike in Clemens' hand now, as Dreams of Steel and Oil will take the Bloodthirsty Adversary. And this is it.
Planeswalker with no abilities.
Planeswalker, no abilities. Just kind of hanging.
So obviously the strike can take care of the Tidebinder here, which is going to free things up.
Yes.
And Koth is, like I was saying, one of these big cards from the sideboard that, if your opponent's overloading on removal spells, you kind of sit there and do its thing and then threaten the ultimate.
Yeah, Koth does +2 here, finds a basic mountain, reveals it, and then we'll play it. The Restless Reef on Eddie's side is just a 4/4. Would be able to attack next turn, but wouldn't be able to kill a Koth.
Correct.
We'll
Good
see.
thing to have access to, honestly, though. Each creature lands being able to kind of, okay, well, you want to play this Planeswalker game? Sure. Now I'm going to play my creature land, attack your Planeswalker game.
Yeah, speaking of creature lands, Mirrex was the draw for turn, which might not be a creature land exactly, but it is a land that makes creatures. We'll see a few cards hit the bin. I believe I saw a Nahiri's Warcrafting as well as a land.
Man.
And oh my goodness.
What a last card to have there for Clemens.
That was pretty good. Cleaning up that Restless Leaf pretty cleanly.
Yeah, the exact amount of mana for the exact card in hand. And now Koth is threatening ultimate. And Koth's ultimate is pretty good. It involves, I think, lands come into play. Every mountain will deal 4 damage. It's a pretty hard one to beat.
Yes. And the mountain deals, 4 damage to any target. It's an emblem as well. So
yeah, choosing to go up though.
Oh, I like it.
So you get another land, and now Koth's on 9.
Not scared.
Yeah, and Koth obviously kill creatures as well too. So the other minus ability can kill a Shieldred or anything else. So got to keep that Koth around.
And cut down, going to take care of that Monastery Swiftspear. No pause on the side of Clemens, so that's just allowed to happen. That 1/1 might looks like it's going face.
Koth's too big. Can't deal with Koth anymore.
Going to just allow I suppose even attacking the ultimate is -7. So even attacking for 1 would leave Koth at 8, and Clemens would still be able to ultimate and leave it in play. And it looks like that's what Clemens is going to do.
Yeah, emblem up. So now every land draw for Clemens is a It's a 4-ball
Right.
somewhere.
And Clemens knows, Clemens has 2 mountains in hand at the very least.
Yep.
So we'll see the first mountain take care of that might, and Jaya, a pretty good follow-up. So there's a red planeswalkers happening here.
This is good sideboarding, folks. We got the Eclipse in hand, been rotting there the entire time.
Yep.
Nothing to kill.
Nothing
no
to
little
kill.
creatures to kill, just these planeswalkers. So great sideboard drew from Clemens.
Yes, we see the might being made off of that Mirrex. Vadmir New Blood, one of the new cards from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, coming into play here. But no attacks, nothing else to be said or done.
Yeah, tough spot. Like just 2 active planeswalkers and an emblem is pretty hard to beat for Eddie here. And then basically any creature Eddie would play can be killed by a simple mountain.
Yeah, we'll see. Reckless Impulse, a pretty good card here. We see Lightning Strike and a Mishra's Foundry being found off of that Reckless Impulse. And, Clemens just, the world is their oyster.
Yeah. Just kind of got it all here, as for Eddie, whenever you're behind in the game by a lot, you got to kind of think to yourself, like, okay, I'm behind. What needs to happen to win this game? What sequence of cards, what lucky draws, what can we do?
This one's not blocking.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to see it, unfortunately, with the 2 planeswalkers active and the emblem. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, has creature lands in play in the Foundry, has 2 mountains in hand, each one of those symbolizing 4 damage.
Yep.
That's just lethal on board.
Yep. Kind of rolled up pretty well here. I'm going to say I'm not sure what it is, but I am sure Underground River is not it.
We see, taking a look at the 2 planeswalkers, and Eddie's saying, there's not too much else that can be done. So these little mites are going to get in and tickle Jaya.
Yeah, party on, Garth. Let's go. Gonna keep battling.
Now, this is interesting because Foundry was animated to block one of the mites, but this Malicious Eclipse will now take care of the 2 threats on Clemens' side.
All right, there you go. So just 2 planeswalkers and an emblem take care of now.
Just 2 planeswalkers and an emblem. We'll see. Look like a land and a lightning strike being exiled with Jaya's plus, and Koth is going to trigger when that mountain is played. Lightning strike going face, and Eddie is 1 mountain away from dead.
Oh, well, look at this. Well, Koth just happened to go get a mountain. That's very convenient, right?
Well, now there's 2 mountains.
Yep.
So, but Eddie, go for the throat. Not what they were looking for here. And we're number 3 between these 2 players. Is there a sideboard changes that you would expect from Dimir now, since we saw that Malicious Eclipse not very good in that game?
Yeah, it's funny. You see these negates coming in possibly, and this is just Magic sideboarding at its finest, where you would never think to bring in negate against the mono red deck because they're playing creatures and you're trying to kill you, but when the sideboard juke happens, you got to stop these planeswalkers. Texture change, things change, and there really isn't a lot in the sideboard to deal with them. There is no card that can kill a planeswalker. Dreams of Steel and Oil can't hit planeswalkers. So it mostly is just negate or make spear or attacks, having a board first, and now of course, Eddie will be on the play,
right? Which
is, going to be important. It makes planeswalkers a little bit worse. But how far do you go? Do you, if you're on the play and you're trying to attack planeswalkers aggressively, do you still want the Malicious Eclipses or not? It's a lot of difficult questions to answer.
Yeah, we see Eddie going heavier on their curve, bringing in both of the Aclazons, both Bat Gods, as well as the Urtai coming back in too.
Yep. Urtai flexible enough to counter a planeswalker. Also, you can kill a planeswalker too, which is good.
Yes.
So
we'll see an opener of 4 lands, 2 removal spells, and a Gix and a Keep from Eddie. So what would you say about this hand?
Yeah, obviously the 2 tap lands are a little awkward. You would love a creature to go with the Gix, but the kill spells are good, and you have a little faith in your deck too. You draw cards for a reason, so you're not always going to have everything you need.
It's all right. I'm going to draw something here, right?
Yep.
We'll see if Clemens is happy with their opener as well. And we're going to kick off this game number 3 between these 2 players here at the round 2 of the 1K Birds of Paradise Standard Open.
Yeah, a lot of fireworks so far in this match.
A lot of fireworks.
One good thing for Eddie is these creature lands do attack planeswalkers very well.
Yeah.
That last game, honestly, was entirely predicated on that one Witchstalker Frenzy. Because the Frenzy was had that one turn where there was exactly the mana for it. It was the last card in hand, and it killed that Reef. There's no frenzy there. That game is completely different. So the creature lines do line up well. Seeing 2 here is pretty good.
Yeah, that allowed the Koth to get out of control, followed up by the Jaya, and no way to assault either one of them. So definitely a big game here, and plenty of time on clock for both of our players.
Yeah.
Kind of taking a second here, taking a real deep think about this opener. It's big game 3. A lot on the line.
Yeah, definitely can be tough. If you're the red player, you want to have a good start. In a matchup where your opponent has a lot of 1/1 removal spells that, like, if you mulligan and mulligan to 4 lands, 2 creatures, and the first 2 creatures get killed, it can be tough. So it's tough spot. You don't really want to mulligan, but you also want to make sure you're applying enough pressure and then also applying a variety of threats too.
Yeah. So waiting to see what our players decide to do. We'll give a shout out to our sponsors, Heavy Play, once again, ! Heavy Play in chat. Make sure to check out all their goodies. They got some pretty sweet sleeves.
Yeah,
I heard.
Just kind of some cool, innovative products. The corner sleeves, in particular, the curved sleeves. Just a cool idea. It's Magic Sleeves been around for 20 years and haven't seen it before. So really, really awesome.
Do love those. And it looks like we are off to the races. Our one player may be having some technical difficulties here. Waiting to see if they jump back in this game. In the meantime,
there are always the pluses and minuses. When you play online, the chess clock is, what a timer in Magic should be. It's perfect. I think most players have had the experience of playing in paper and you get a draw where you feel like you played 10 minutes, your opponent played 50 minutes, but not on arena. But connection problems can also be an issue too. But it looks like we're back and we're all good to go.
We are back and good to go. And we'll see a 5th land the draw for Eddie. So Eddie probably saying, you know what? I probably don't want to draw any more lands the rest of this match and I'll be good. As we see Clemens just playing a Mishra's Foundry and passing the turn, as Gix will be the first action of this match.
So playing out the Gix here, this is going to have an interesting spot where your monored player didn't play a 1-drop or a 2-drop. So you kind of assume they have a removal spell. So could have maybe been a little more conservative to play the Reef tapped and you kind of held the Gix for a better spot, but making the exchange is fine too.
Yeah, so we see there are 2 copies of Restless Reef here. Eddie would be able to start attacking with it next turn.
Yep.
As Kumano faces Kakazan. So that's going to start pinging away. Eddie down to 19. Negate is the draw here, a little late.
Yeah, and this, kind of throws a wrench in that Reef plan a little bit, where you're right. Like, you just fire at the Reef. To be fair, though, once again, Frenzy Mana is up again exactly. So, committing to a Reef attack and having it die and being totally tapped out is a pretty big risk.
Yes, especially against mono red that can punish you very quickly and
right.
very, very severely, as we saw in that last game. Reckless Impulse here going to be negated.
Yeah, so the negates didn't come in for Reckless Impulse, but still a pretty good exchange. It's still a spot where Eddie's, a little bit light on action. So let's keep this game a little slower and kind of let the things dry out of it.
Oh, but Eddie drawing Duress. Going to take a little look at the 4 cards Clemens has in hand. In response, Clemens will play with fire, going face. Eddie down to 17, going to scry 1 to the top.
Upstairs.
So we'll see what happens. And it looks like Bloodthirsty Adversary and Fugitive Codebreaker. So sorry, Mary, your princess is another castle.
So I like this a lot, actually. So we can see here the patience on Clemens' side. Could have played either of those creatures at any point, but recognizing that Eddie isn't doing much either. So they have to think, okay, what's in Eddie's hand? Well, it's not creatures. If it's all lands, I'm going to win anyway. So it's probably just kill spells or counter spells, right? So being able to wait on these, A, you can get max value out of them by either kicking them or morphing them. And B, you're playing around Make Spear and possible counter spells too.
Right. And I love that, because really baiting Eddie a little bit too, because that second chapter of Kumano went off.
Yeah.
That went out without being cashed in. So that duress draw from Eddie was pretty good, because Eddie was probably like, what the heck is going on here?
I'm going to nab some spells.
Right?
You can't possibly have any creatures in that hand.
Can't possibly just be creatures. You would have played anything there, right? Yep. Right?
Yeah.
Nope.
They're all creatures. Always have been.
We'll see a second copy of Gix here, drawn and played on Eddie's side. And as of right now, we'll see if Clemens has a response. There is a pause. So Kenzin, Crucible of Defiance, will be channeled. So 2 1/1s coming out onto the battlefield. We see the Codebreaker and the Adversary still in hand. Going to start with the Adversary. Is able to flashback something in the graveyard. we'll get a go for the throat in response.
It's again max value here. You know, I'm not going to play with adversary until I can flash it back. I'm not going to play with Codebreaker until I can draw cards. So
yeah, we'll see Bloodthirsty Adversary probably picking that Lightning Strike for Gix once again. And we will see the Lightning Strike take care of Gix. So copy number 2 of Gix into the graveyard. These 1/1s free to attack now. Eddie down to 15. A land from Clemens and a pass of the turn. Fairy Mastermind is the draw.
I think Clemens is playing this game phenomenally. Just such patience. You know, you think in mono red, it's just like, I'm going to slam my cards on the table and point burn spells at your face. You know, but just really, really showing great patience, playing around the possible cards that Clemens has. Just great look so far.
Yeah, we'll see Restless Reef getting animated here. And we'll see if that Witchstalker Frenzy is in hand. Oh, no, it is.
Frenzy time.
And Fairy Mastermind in response might as well make use of that Restless Reef mana before it dies. So Fairy Mastermind will come into play. I can't imagine Fairy Mastermind's on blocking duty though.
It's tough. Yeah, it's kind of a weak card in the matchup because of this exact reason. It just doesn't really block that well. Not really that fast of a clock. And mono red ain't drawing cards, you know. So there is card advantage in mono red, you know, as far as Reckless Impulse or Chandra. But it's very rarely actual card draw, except for the Codebreaker that's being highlighted, right? Or almost like, hey, Jim, ha, 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 it does draw cards. But for the most part, does not actually draw cards.
Yes. We'll see.
Thank you, Eddie, for that. Appreciate that.
We'll see. What? Oh, Elder Dragon War, the 4-mana saga coming into play, dealing 2 damage to everything. So saying, you know what? These Sukansan tokens, gone. But your Fairy Mastermind, also gone.
And really showing, you know, a commitment to the bit here of like, I'm a big red deck. I'm going to play a long game. You know, I don't even know what once. I'm going to kill your creature. I'm going to get some card advantage here from this war. I'm going to make a 4/4, draw some cards, do a little, what's it called? Fable Nervebreaker impression. Although here, once again, I'm being proven wrong about mono red not drawing cards. So if Mastermind got to draw an extra one here.
Right. We see Elder Dragon War, Chapter 2, discarding any number of cards, draw that many cards, is going to say, nope, I'm not discarding anything, is going to hold on. And it looks like face down card. What could it be?
Could even be a boat.
Could even be a boat. Now, it does cost 6 to flip up, but it is reduced by 1 for each instant and sorcery in the graveyard. So this Fugitive Codebreaker can flip up, and when it turns up, you discard your hand and draw 3 cards. And lucky for Clemens doesn't have any cards to discard.
Yep. And the Mastermind would draw a card also, and we're not sure what the count is in spells in the graveyard. If it's Frenzy and then 1 more spell, it can be flipped right now. And then of course there's the ward ability where they go for the throat. So
there's a play with fire in the from earlier.
Right. Okay. Yep.
So there should be enough, and then again, and Fugitive Codebreaker will turn face up, and we'll see 3 cards into hand, and Aclazot's quite a draw for Eddie here.
Yeah, that's a big one. There are not a lot of ways to deal with Aclazotz in this mono red deck aside from, you know, temporarily removing it. There is 1 copy of Obliterating Bolt, which can exile it, but
yes, we'll see. Lightning Strike going to take care of that 2nd copy of Fairy Mastermind, and it looks like Fugitive Codebreaker can't even get in here because of the Restless Reef. Go for the throat is going to take care of the 4/4 flyer on Clemens' side, and is it na.
Yeah, I think so. Holy bat gods, Batman. Real perfect card to have access to here, though. You know, without the Aclazotz, it was just like, you know, a Badmir or a Gix, sure, but Aclazotz is the premier threat in, you know, a turn 7 of a game like this.
Yeah, we'll see Aclazotz starting to do some work. Whenever it attacks, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent it can't, you draw a card. Clemens does have 2 cards in hand, discarding a mountain here, making a 1/1 of Aclazotz. Whenever an opponent discards a land, you get a 1/1 flying bat. So gaining life up to 15 goes Eddie, down to 14 goes Clemens. Has a Mishra's Foundry in play, but with that life gain and everything, can Clemens act fast enough to kill Eddie before his Aclazotz gets really out of control?
It would be tough regardless, but with the end available and the reef, it's gonna be really difficult. We might be on the 1 outer of just drawing Obliterating Bolt here, and that being the only real way out, because You can't let Agglo's odds attack you more than a few times and hope to win the game.
Yes, as we see it, Clemens discarding a Monastery Swift Spear. So still holding on to cards, could have played the Monastery Swift Spear and imaginably whatever else is in Clemens's hand. But if Clemens can't discard a card, Eddie would draw a card. So Clemens saying, you know what, I'd rather discard what's in my hand than have you draw.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can cross Obliterate and bolt off the list.
Yes, we've had first Bat God.
Yes. Yeah, this is tough. Clemens seems to value that card in hand. Well, I guess was by holding a Swift, but now it's just gone. So to strangle, yeah. Bat God's taking it down here. One of the better tools in the matchup. We can see, Shield is great. But I think in a spot like this, Bat God's just a lot better. The ability to kind of like keep making tokens, drawing cards, gaining life over and over again in bigger chunks. Yeah, and it's gonna do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. So our Dimir mid-range player Eddie will take down that match over mono red. Clemens played very well.
Yeah, Clemens played great that game. Honestly, the drawing the Bat God in that mid game spot was still. The game wasn't like decided either way by the draw, but the draw really hammered it home. It was still a close game regardless.
I love that sideboard dance by both players.
Yeah, really cool. The Walker's coming in, and we saw the end in Eddie's hand at the end there, which kind of killed Planeswalker too. So just a fun, kind of sideboard song and dance. Kind of be able to go back and forth in like, well, you've got this, well, I've got this, kind of thing, which is great. So very cool to see. Very different than our first match, and
definitely a tight 3-game series between those two players. Definitely enjoyed seeing it.